apologize about the technical difficulties, but we are back. Mr. Juan is back, and we're going to carry on. Jada, if you can go ahead with our next question. I know that sometimes we can't get past those technical difficulties sometimes. Is it possible? I know, especially when it comes to the platforms. Is it possible to restore love with the same person who broke your heart? If so, how?
Yeah, it's just more difficult. You got an uphill battle. Let's be honest with you. It's an uphill battle because you got so many experiences. It's sort of like, now we're talking about intimate relationships, personal relationships, right? It's because it's an uphill battle, but there's initially there's the forgiveness that has to come place if it's one-sided or other. It can be done. It's just an uphill battle. And the reason that it's more difficult is because you don't know where the other person is. You don't know where the other person is. They both have to be willing to enter into it. But the one thing that I always talk about love is that love it doesn't require anybody else to participate. In the sense of you willing to love that other person. There's so many different dynamics that can come into place whether that would be feasible to love someone who's broken your heart, so to speak. But when if purpose was established with the relationship, then no one can break that purpose. Nothing can break that purpose. If that was a genuine purpose that you have. And the reason being is that when you put that purpose is always something bigger than yourself. And when you have that and you know that that purpose was bigger than yourself, if someone a part of that relationship was to break that promise of that relationship, the purpose still remains. And I'll share it with you like this. If purpose is to raise a family, and let's say someone steps out on the relationship, that doesn't change the purpose of the relationship. And that's something that has to root your decision making as it relates to whether or not you want to go back to continue or to return back to that situation. It's going to be difficult, but it has to be rooted in purpose. If it's not rooted in purpose, it's going to always be subjective to emotions, outsiders, what other people think. And that's going to make it difficult because they're like, if he did that to me or she did that to me, ain't nowhere like it. Your purpose your relationship be rooted in your purpose. And when you're rooted in purpose, it can overcome whatever the circumstances that might cause that relationship trauma or challenge.
And I'm glad you mentioned something about outsiders and other influences too, because that's one of the important things. If people are trying to reclaim something or they trying to restore something or reconcile with someone that they've already been in a relationship before or had heartbreak with before, that is already going to take some work. So you're going to have to establish some boundaries because everybody's not going to be supportive sometimes of that reconciliation. And so when you don't have that support, you're going to have to create boundaries for outside influences. So that way people are not, in your ear influencing how you decide, how you do things or whatever. So that communication only needs that foundation for that reconciliation or restoration needs to be established between those two people, not people outside influences. putting their 2 cents in and adding, what they think or however. Because that influence is a recipe for disaster already.
Absolutely. Those boundaries are included. They are a part of purpose. These are all of the types of things that when you put purpose in place, boundaries come along with purpose, because purpose keeps you focused. And what boundaries do are the same thing. They keep you focused. And so you won't allow any type of thing that's outside of those boundaries to influence your purpose. And that's why it's so important to have purpose as the focal point, and then the boundaries come in play so that you stay focused on purpose. So just boundaries in and of themselves, they need to be in line with your purpose. And so, when we talked about if you need help or counseling could be a boundary that keeps you focused on your purpose. Okay. And it's okay to get that kind of influence when it's the kind that helps you focus on your purpose. Somebody in your ear talking about, I wouldn't go back to him, and say, that's not focusing on your purpose.
And that's true because it happens every day. People try to give thinking they're helping, and they're being more of a hindrance than a help. And it causes conflict between the two people, and sometimes the other person don't even know that their partner is getting influence from other people or whatever. And so a lot of times they're seeing change behaviors and patterns from people, and it's based off the influence and the advice that they're getting from people outside of that foundation that's supposed to be established between
Yeah,
you know
it's called the
person.
peanut gallery.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
the peanut
yes.
gallery. They in your ear.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you, Mr. Sutton. He said that is much better. The sound. Look, guys, when we have no idea if the sound be like choppy or anything. So anytime that happens, kind of put that in a comment and let us know, so that way we can work behind the scenes and get that fixed. Because we don't want you guys trying to listen to us if you can't understand or hear anything. Because then it does a disservice to the whole episode. But I'm glad that we got it reset, and it sounds so much better. So thank you for that input, Mr. Sutton. I appreciate that. But definitely let us know the next time that happens. So um, the next question says, in your opinion, what are the top 3 keys to reclaiming healthy love?
Healthy love.
Yeah,
Hmm.
healthy love.
I guess that's that restoration. And I would say the three things, three or any three. I think we've touched on at least three of them already. But I can give you a couple more. Um, Really knowing who you are. Okay. I can't say that enough as relates to reclaiming your health, a healthy love, is to really begin to self-love. Is because until you love yourself, you really can't love anybody else. And so that's really understanding that what you're trying to do is to establish something that someone else can see in you so that you can give it. You can give that. But see, to know what love is love is to is it's giving. It's something that you give. It's not as much as what you're receiving, it's what you can give. And when you're able to establish something to give, that means that that's going to be healthy enough for you. That's going to be healthy for you. See, the question is talking about reclaiming a healthy love. That's what this is all about. It's about getting yourself healthy so that you can love. That's what it is all about. We want it to give us something, and it's not about giving us something. It's about being able to give ourselves to others. So that's very much important. And then when you, again, if you considering everything that we talked about, I'm trying to think of some addition, because those are some really, if you can focus on those ones that we've talked about, setting boundaries, having purpose, these are all of the key components to having what it takes to be able to love. You know, these are the components that it takes to be able to love. When you don't have them, you really find yourself in an emotional state of just existing in a situation where it could fall apart at any moment. Because life is lifing all the time, and situations and people bring various situations to your relationships, and there's things that you just don't know, that they don't even know, that's impacting the relationship. And so it's all about how we show up. And when we know enough about ourselves to show up authentically, man, it's amazing what we see in others when we know a person either connects to us, we relate to them. It doesn't take much when you know that you know that you know who you are. It's about you. You know, it gives you hope to understand that this is possible when you
Yeah.
know who you are. And it really gives you the confidence to move forward in reclaiming a healthy love. Is to
Mm,
know who you are.
mm. With that, I'm going to ask you this. How important is emotional safety when rebuilding trust after the heartbreak? Whether it's with a new person or with the same person, but you talking about somebody, you know, giving love another try after heartbreak. And, you know, how important is emotional safety with that? Because I'm putting my heart out there again. I'm trying to trust again. So how important is emotional safety and rebuilding that trust again after a heartbreak?
It's interesting that you say it. You say it in a different way. You ask the question in a different way. You can't be to be emotionally stable is to be authentically vulnerable. And to be authentically vulnerable, you're going to have to lead with love. Okay? So that means that you're going to establish some emotional ties to it, but you in the process of that happening should be a connection that you can. It's interesting when you can connect with a person. Emotions are a added benefit. You add emotions on once you make the connection. We have a tendency to do it the other way around. We get emotional and then we hope to get a connection. You know, we'll look over and say, "Oh, that is she cute, she fine, that's he nice," and that's an emotional thing. It's an eye candy type of thing, knowing nothing about them, having no idea as to whether or not there's truly a connection. And it's okay to do that, but understand when you do that, you've got to still go through the process of seeing if there's a connection and being willing to subject the emotions to that understanding as to whether or not there is a connection or not. You know, so you have to be on guard there. Be careful in knowing what you're putting in first. You know,
So can trust be established there with those emotions then? Because you're saying that, you know, the emotions can happen before a connection. So can trust be built there? You know, you're
again, this
talking
is
about
the whole
somebody
thing.
who's gone through that heartbreak and they're like, I don't know if I can trust this. I don't know if I can trust again. So here I am. I don't met somebody and now my feelings and emotions are all caught up. You know, can I
Well, that's
trust?
but that's an indication that you're not ready. That's an indicator if you're not ready. If See, trust is essential in relationships. If you
Okay.
can't trust, that means that you have not gone through the process of allowing yourself to heal from this previous thing. If trust is an issue, stay, don't move forward, because
Okay.
it trust in a relationship is essential. If you don't have trust, and for somebody to say, oh, we can build trust, no, no, you can lose trust, but you can't build it. You can't.
It should already
You
be established, right?
yeah,
You just
you can. If I'm going into you all side-eyed, thinking that you're gonna have to, you got to prove that I can trust you. There ain't enough time in a day, in a year, in a life for me to give you opportunity. All you got to do is based on what you know right now. Do you trust me? Because now I've got to be able to determine that as that moves on, that you're going to be consistent. That's why it's so important to be authentically yourself and be able to determine if a person is being authentically themselves, because it's that ability of being inconsistent which will begin to tell you that I can't trust you.
mm-hmm. Like it.
I can't trust you if you're inconsistent.
That's it.
If your words and actions are inconsistent, there's no reason for me to trust that.
Yes.
So that's not something that I can't do. It's a sign that I shouldn't do it.
Mm.
You've given me a sign. You've given me reason not to, and I'm not going to go against what I see. You've given me reason not to trust you. Then that's all it is. I'm not that I can't trust. You've given me reason not to.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Jada, do we have another question? Okay. How do you coach people to separate who they are from what they've been through in love?
People separate who they are from
From
what
what they've been
they.
through in love.
Well, that's interesting. Separate who they are and what they've been through in love. See, again, that word love and the way it's word is used there, um, is not exactly how who they are is what they've been through in love, because they've whatever they've been through and has attached it to love, they are, that is what they've identified. And what I'm trying to suggest is that when you know what love is, that you put on love, that's who you become. And so it's not as though you're trying to separate them. It's to really begin to understand what love is, so that you can then not have to separate. And unfortunately, we've had experiences that have assigned itself to love that really wasn't. You getting what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
and I think like reading this question, I get it as if somebody have experienced something toxic or traumatizing in a relationship, how do they separate themselves from I'm not toxic, but that's what I just experienced through love. However, what I'm my identity, I'm not what I just been through, or I'm not what I went through, kind of thing. That's how I look at the question, but I could be wrong.
Well,
And
I mean,
sometimes
and that.
you yeah, and sometimes you have to look at it. People get traumatized through relationships, and it changes people. And then sometimes it doesn't change people, but people want to be like, I don't want to identify what I've been through, whether it was domestic violence or emotional abuse, whatever the case, betrayal or whatever. People don't want that to identify what they've been through, because they I'm a different person than what I've been through, kind of thing.
Okay. I mean, there. So we'll take it there, and it's just to understand that you have to begin to identify. You are not. what you have experienced. That is just something that you have to reinforce in your self development. I am I am better than what I've been through. You know, I am not the cause of what the situation, what occurred to me. And that's something that is very important when you're doing in traumatic experiences like that. Again, this is one of those experiences that I think you really need counseling. You really need to find out, because those types of traumas have to be addressed so that you can move forward. It's just, and it's one of those things that you have to be, it's you just can't let that just linger and manifest itself, because it's always going to be questioning your own who you are, and it can't be defining who you are. You had, you were not, you were the victim of something like that, irrespective as to why the circumstances happen. You can't allow yourself, and that's why I'm saying, in cases like that, go get the necessary help. It is okay to get the necessary help, the counseling. And this is one of those situations where you need counseling. You don't need your friends, you don't need your family, you need someone. In many cases, the trauma comes from the family, unfortunately. And to know that you can find the help, go get the help from a counselor. See, because it's nothing wrong with it. It is liberty in being able to find things out about yourself and be able to really appreciate who you are. You are important, you are
Yes.
necessary, and what you have is sufficient. You are you are a great, you are a person that has value.
And you are worthy of love.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, someone, we all have need of love. We
Yes.
all have need of it, but we also have it to give. And it's
Yes.
that's where fulfillment comes, in that
Yes.
ability to give it. And when you don't think that you have value, you don't think you have anything to offer. And that's
Right.
why it's so important to be able to make sure that you get the help and the counseling that you need, so that you can establish your value.
Yes. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, Mr. One. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to kind of have some last minute comments for today's episode. Anything that you want to share in regards to the questions that was brought about in our topic, that you want to leave with our audience in regards to this subject matter?
Well, I'm going to tell you a couple things that I'm doing, and I know it's going to be in line with this, because a little bit of everything we do is that I'm now on Clubhouse. I think I told you last time I was going on
Mm-hmm.
Clubhouse. I'm on Clubhouse, and the room on the Clubhouse is called the Love Mindset Lounge. The Love
Okay.
Mindset Lounge, and it's me and a psychologist. His name is Dr. James Brockington. We're out there. We're on. The room is open on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7:30 to about 9, 8:30 to 9. But I can tell you, this week we're going to be talking about fear and anxiety, and a lot of cases of situations where we talk about how does love be able to navigate fear and anxiety. And we're going to be talking about that. And in line with what we're talking here, as it relates to heartbreak, it comes from that openness and ability to recognize those things that you fear and the things that bring anxiety in your life. And we're going to talk about how we deal with those types of things. So that's one of the things that we got happening. Like I said, it's every week on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Okay.
In addition to that, I'm working on a course that will be available. Hopefully, people can. It's called the Love Mind. It's called Love Made Simple, the course, from based on my book. And it's going to be something that you're going to be able to participate in starting next month. So
Okay.
it'll probably be out by the time you're going to invite me back next month.
Absolutely. You have a book spot.
Okay. Well, if you by the time we meet next time, well, I'll let you know more about the course that'll be out. But yeah, it's going to be out. And just another thing to enforce this change mindset, this opportunity to adjust the way we see love in a way in which it can allow us to navigate life in all aspects of life more successfully. So whether it's a heartbreak, a health issue, whether it's a financial issue, we want to be able to have the right mindset to navigate all areas of life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. We were definitely, I jumped on LinkedIn one night. I think you guys were talking finances that night, but I jumped on LinkedIn for that segment. I was coming into from work. So I was like, oh, it's 7. So let me
Oh,
jump on.
and don't forget, I have we have as a matter of fact, this particular Wednesday we have 2 podcasts. We alternate them, and this particular Wednesday night is Clear Journey's love philosophy of love. Will be
Okay.
this Wednesday night. So you'll see the social media stuff on that all week, but Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. On Clear Journey's YouTube channel, and you will see us all through social media. So jump in, holler, give us some
Okay. Well,
feedback, let us know what's going on.
send the information to Jada and we'll make sure we post it in our group. So that
Okay,
way
that's
people can,
fine.
yeah, so people can join if they would like.
That'd be great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again for another great episode with you and for your insight on, talking about love reclaim. I know that, there's oftentimes that people, people love being in love, and love is a beautiful thing when it's done correctly, when it's given correctly, or whatever. So everybody is entitled to experience that kind of love. And I'm just happy that we're able to give these nuggets and this kind of show to people, so that way when they're bouncing back from things like heartbreak, they have an opportunity to, establish some things that would give them a stronger foundation moving forward, whether it's with somebody new, or if it's restoring something old or that has been broken or whatever. But I did want to mention, if you're dealing with heartbreak, and you've gone through a relationship or whatever, this is one of the things that I have done, and so I'm just going to share it with you. Write down what the heartbreak taught you, and then write down what love means to you now after the heartbreak. So because you've experienced it, you experience love and what it means to you now, because sometimes you get a better perspective. Hindsight is 2020, and sometimes you get a better perspective after the fact. And so when you look at what it has taught you and what love means to you now, sometimes you'll make better decisions. Do I want to move forward right now with somebody new, or do I want to restore or rekindle or reconcile with this person? Those things are very important. So if you're making those kind of efforts where you're writing down and making assessments on what it has taught you and what love means to you, trust me, you're not going to want to repeat things. If you're writing down stuff and you see the stuff that it has taught you and what love means to you now, you're gonna assess the situation and be like, is this person worth me giving a second chance to? If this situation worth me putting the extra work in, do I think that other person is going to put in equal amount of work as well for this situation? So those are the things that you would have to evaluate. And then you also have to evaluate moving forward, if, am I ready to move forward, or do I need to continue this healing process until I'm able and capable of being, the best version of myself when I'm able to prepare and present myself to somebody or avail myself to somebody. So, take those lessons taught or whatever, but don't let it hinder you from experiencing one of the greatest, opportunities that people can experience, and that's love. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode this week. We will be off next week because it's Labor Day weekend. And so you guys enjoy your Labor Day weekend. We will kick back in September. And September will be we'll have Mr. Juan back on the fourth Sunday, of course. But September will be our small business month, marketing month. So if you have a small business and you would like to market your small business for the month of September, please let us know. Send us your information. We'll give you an opportunity to come on the show, present your business and the information about your business. So that way you can market your business and get followers and therefore, so whatever it takes. So we want to make sure that we give an opportunity for our followers to have businesses to be able to market that. So that'll be an opportunity, you guys, for September. We'll also have one of my friends who's running for re-election for city council back in my hometown in Warner Robins, Georgia. He'll be coming on doing a segment for his re-election. So he'll come on for a little bit for that, talk about his re-election bid and look for the voters in Houston County, Warner Robins, Georgia area for their votes. So we'll have him on for that. And then we'll again have the Love Doctor on the fourth Sunday of
I'll
September.
be here.
But absolutely. And we appreciate you, Mr. Juan. But if you guys don't have nothing else, you guys have a fantastic week. Enjoy your holiday weekend. And we'll see you guys back the following week in September for our first episode in September. So we'll see you guys soon. Bye.